Hey, what's up, guys? Coming out with a video. It's going to be my Toonami review for January 16th through January 17th, 2022. Mostly, I was pretty busy yesterday, so I didn't really got time to actually do the review for Toonami. So, so here we goes there. So this putting a disclaimer on that. So here it goes. Toonami technically starts out with the primal there. So episode starts out with the caveman and the T-Rex there. They're trying to run there from something there. They're technically run away from something there and stuff like that. They noticed there was like a lady, honestly, who was like screaming there and stuff like that. So they technically investigate there. She was technically getting surrounded by, I think she was getting surrounded by these like creatures there and stuff like that. Mostly the caveman and the T-Rex technically attack them there, and mostly technically wrecking them and stuff like that. Mostly, they mostly approach her and stuff like that. The T-Rex growls at her and stuff like that. She technically steps back. The caveman tries to push him. He was kind of like, hey, don't really attack her and stuff like that. And then she was like talking to the caveman there, saying, she was talking in like something I can't understand there. But she was talking in that language there and stuff like that. So they go to the thing there. They try to, she technically follows them behind. She has like something on her neck also. She had like something on her neck. They technically take it off there. And then she technically follows them and stuff like that. She runs into the T-Rex. The T-Rex gets pissed off and he's like, hey, don't do that shit to me. type of way there and stuff. Mostly when that was going on with that stuff there, they get over the fucking rocks there and stuff like that. The T-Rex didn't want to get over the fucking rocks. He's like, oh, it's too. He's like, it's kind of like, oh, it's too steep. I can't get over those things. And then he's like, come on. And the caveman's like, come on, and stuff like that. And then pissing off the T-Rex, and the T-Rex roared at him. He's like, ah, and shit like that. And she was like, mostly the lady was telling, drawing a picture there, saying some, like doing a thing. I can't understand what she's fucking saying because she's saying a different language, or I don't know what the fuck she was saying there. And then she draws like a picture there, and then technically the caveman technically draws her like thing in the back of her forehead there and stuff like that, and they get across there, and then she kind of like realizes something. They get to the cave there. They're gonna stay in the night for the cave. Technically they get attacked by these like creatures we've seen in one of the episodes there, where one of them technically broke their legs and stuff like that. And then mostly, or technically they're mostly get attacked by those creatures. And mostly they take the woman there, and they go off into a ship there. The guy was actually said, he actually says one line there. He's like, oh, Monka or something like that. I think that's what her name is. And technically, that's where the episode ends. So, yep, that was Primal. Next, after Primal, we had Luthon the Third Part 3, or Part 6 there. Honestly, I didn't watch that. After Luthon there, we had One Piece there. So episode starts out with fucking Luffy taking on Horty Jones there. Technically, Horty Jones was technically chasing him down with the shark thing, the shark attack there. Luffy was saying something about he's like he's like he's like come on man. He's like and he told Luffy Horty Jones was actually saying to Luffy's saying you and your friends are fucked there because the Noah's gonna crash there and stuff like that. And he's like trying to hit him. He's like, you know, you're pretty worthless, Luffy, and stuff like that. That's what Horty Jones was saying to Luffy there. Back into the island there. There was a pretty funny thing with Brooks. The guy with the camouflage thing there. He did his camouflage thing there, and then fucking Brooke. He's like, oh crap, the ground's talking. Stab. He fucking stabs him, and he's like, oh you. And then he was like actually saying, he's like, oh I got you, I hit you and stuff like that. And he's like, no, I fucking stabbed you. That's what freaking Brooke was saying, and he's like, no, I got you, stuff like that. And then he technically grabs Brooke in the neck and snapping his fucking head off. But technically Brooke is a fucking skeleton, so that was not really gonna work in a way. He's already been dead. He's like, yeah, I killed the straw hat and stuff like that. That's what he was saying and shit. And then and then Brooke's head comes back on and stuff like that. And he's like, you know, I'm already dead, so why that attack's not really gonna work and shit. So he attacks there. He did like an ice thing. He's like, you're not gonna get past me and stuff. And then he's like, he already went past him. He's like, I already passed you. Oh, stuff like that. So when that was all happening with that stuff there, technically Uson there saw his chopper turn into his like big form there, and they were like, don't go crazy, Chopper. And mostly Chopper actually contained his big form, and he's like, oh, it's okay, so I'm not gonna go crazy on you and shit like that. And he's like, oh, do it, buddy, and stuff like that. He's like, made him all happy and shit. When all that stuff happens there, we see fucking Luffy, mostly Horty, frickin' was charging right at Luffy there. Technically, he does his second gear. He was charging up his second gear there. Gave it like his brother's attack there, and he's like, take that. He's like, gum, massive pistol or something like massive pistol or something like that. And he hits him there. His arm turns into fire. Boom! Hits Horty right into the fucking ship there. Smashes him against the Noah and stuff like that. And then he's like, let me in. And then we'll see the Hiraboshi throws him into the ship there. And he's like, finally I can breathe and stuff like that. And then you see Horty eating those steroid pills. And he's like, you're not outmatching me yet. We're not outmatching me yet. They were like, oh yeah, he defeated him and stuff. And they said that. And that's where the episode ends. So that was One Piece. So we had another episode of One Piece. I'm not going to do that one. So, right after One Piece there, we had Naruto Shippuden. So, episode starts out with fucking, technically, Rock Lee was taking on, forgot what his fucking name was, Hershey or something. So he was taking him on there and stuff like that. He was taking him on there. Technically, he was hitting his fucking chakra points there, so he couldn't move and stuff like that. He's like, oh, he hit me with my chakra points and stuff like that. Technically, Neji kind of knew something was wrong there because he's actually fighting me in a really good state there and stuff like that. He's like, oh, he's actually using that technique there. He's using the owl technique. mostly the owl technique there. Um, his attacks were super quiet there, so Lee was getting pushed there. Um, when Lee was getting fucking pushed there, he's like, how we're gonna do this there and stuff like that. So technically, Lee was technically fighting fucking fuck, fuck, he was fighting him and stuff like that. And mostly when Lee did there, he did his uh, he did his try gates there. He did the fifth gate there right away. And then they're like, oh no, Lee's going into the fifth gate there. And then technically the other guy did like some type of breathing thing there, and it was kind of like similar to the inner gates there. And technically they were fighting with it there. Lee actually had the upper hand when he actually turned into his inner gates. Technically knocking him, like knocking him fucking around and stuff like that. When he technically was fucking knocking him around. And technically he got screwed over there. He's like, mostly technically Lee won the fight there. He hit him so hard, where he technically bleed there, and he was like, "You're okay" and stuff like that. And he's like, "You know what?" He's like, "I don't want to do this fucking shit no more." That's what the other guy was saying. And technically, and he's like, just take our scroll and leave. And technically, they actually had two the same fucking scrolls there, so it was not really gonna work. He's like, well, we have the same fucking scroll. Yeah, good idea. We need to go after our team that has a different scroll. And so that happened there and stuff like that. So, and that's where the episode ends. They're gonna head off to the thing there, and that's where the episode ends. So yep, that's Naruto Shippuden, the first episode of Naruto Shippuden. Next, we had another episode of Naruto Shippuden. I might actually do this one, okay? For this one there, the second episode of Naruto Shippuden, we had, the episode starts out with, Kurumai's team was technically taking on, mostly they're trying to take on some things there. They found some fucking grass ninja there and stuff like that. They were taking them on and stuff like that. And then they're like, oh, they're like, bring us on, Hidden Leaf Shinobi and stuff like that. That's what they were saying to him. So technically, Kiba technically fights the big guy there. The big guy technically was mostly using Kiba as a distraction there and stuff like that, so they can steal their scroll and stuff like that. So they mostly was trying to fend that off there and stuff like that. They're mostly trying to attack. Kurumai's team is trying to attack there. Kiba bites the guy's things there with the Akamaru, and he's like, get off of me. And so he technically throws him off there. And he's like, and then they're like, oh, you have the scroll we're after. He's like, and then they're like, wait, that's our scroll. And that Kiba was actually saying that there. You see teammate there was going to charge right at him. He burps there. He did some type of jutsu there where it fucked up their smells. So technically Kiba and Akamaru are technically out of the count there. And they're like, oh, fuck, that smells bad. And then Akamaru was technically weeping there because technically that was technically a really bad smell where it affected their smells and stuff like that. And then mostly they did a mole thing there to fucking escape there. And technically Shino does his bugs there, and mostly they're technically following them with the bugs there and stuff like that. Mostly were following them in the bugs and stuff like that, and mostly you have to use her Byakugan to also chase him down when they actually got closer out of not really that deep underground, and maybe it was like a little bit underground where she can actually see them and shit. She's like, oh, they're over there and stuff like that. That's one thing Octo was actually saying. and mostly pops out of the ground and stuff like that. They're like, they're like, oh, why in the fuck you're following us and so that. They're like, get back our scroll and stuff. And that's what Kiba was actually saying. And then he's like, you want it, come get us and stuff like that. That's what their attitude was. And he's like, you bastards. And mostly they walked into a quicksand. They walked into fucking quicksand there. They're mostly going there like, oh, what the fuck and shit like that. And Uncle Morrow did something there to actually make the quicksand harden there. He did his marking there, so when they all got sucked into the quicksand there, they're like, oh, they're done and stuff like that, and then they're busting out. They're like, these guys are not done with this yet. That's what Kiba was saying. And then mostly he was thanking Alkamaro from using his marking there to actually harden the sand there. Because he pissed, because Alkamaro pissed everywhere, and then he's like, and then they're like, oh yeah, thanks for making a small like piss and shit like that. That's what Shino was saying, and then they're like, it's okay, Alkamara, it's not your fault. And then he's like, oh yeah, it is. It smells bad and shit. And and then they're like, let's go after him, and that's where the episode ends. So yep, that's pretty much it there. Comment, rate, and responsive to Marvels. We like Marvels. Please subscribe, hit the notification, and understand more uploads. Oh yeah, they had Attack on Titan and Shenmue. So yep. Comment, responsive to Spurs. We like Marvels. Please subscribe, hit the notification, and understand more uploads. Carry out. Adios.